Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our day 3 of BooB CamP. And I love day 3 of BooB CamP because the pressure is taken completely off me and I can sit in this, did you see that I've changed chairs? I've changed chairs to the comfy chair and I get to spend the night talking with Wendy Gordon. Now, Wendy and I have been quite close for the last 6 months. We've spent some time together on retreat. We're on the phone call to each other every week. And Wendy, you know, your experience with women and health in general, you started off, was it in the, oh, are you right? You started off in the Navy.
I did, yes. In the 80s,
then, yeah, in the 80s. And then you've gone into being a paramedic as well. I think there was something in between that.
I was a registered nurse, yeah.
Registered nurse. Plus being like an amazing mum and woman and supportive, you know, person into the community of everything. So just reading over your bio, it's just helper, caring, helping, caring, all of those things. So, you know, I am so honored to have you as our special guest in BooB CamP tonight, and also love having you being able to tap in on the phone and chat. And I'm so excited about the future that we are building together for the women across Australia. So yes, welcome to BooB CamP.
Thank you. Thanks, Chelsey, and all your team and all the lovely ladies out there. I can see a few of the ladies are out there that come and see me locally too. So hello, everyone, and thank you so much. And it's my honour because I've loved it. It's just, yeah, it's just changed everything for me, learning more about, you know, everything that you do. I love it.
Yeah, so where we're going to sort of start is a little bit about you first, and then we're going to get into the nitty gritty. Now, I just want everyone to know who's watching on Instagram and who is watching on Facebook and who is joining us in Zoom. Look at all these brave faces tonight. Look, there's so many. Glenda's on for her 3rd night in a row, I'm pretty sure, Glenda. Yes, awesome. Who else is here for the 3rd night in a row? Lynn's here as well. Beautiful. Wendy's here for the 3rd night in a row. Yeah, just I love it. I know I'll always been doing this. So if somebody's ready to put a little bit of effort in, we are in effort for tenfold as well. So thank you everyone for joining. Now, please know that you can ask anything. You can definitely ask anything that you like. If we're going to save 10 minutes at the end, if you are in Zoom and you don't want to ask a question that's publicly recorded, because this is going live and this will be used in our socials, and we will be sharing this on YouTube and all of those things. But if you do wanted to ask a more personal question and you have joined Zoom, please wait to the end and then we can stop recording and then you'll be able to ask your question after that. So does that sound like a fair deal? Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so Wendy, tell us a little bit about you and your passion for women's health.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chelsey. So I started to have a real awakening about women's health probably around 10 years ago. So I'm coming up 56 this year. And when I was getting into my late 40s, I was a full-time paramedic here with Ambulance Victoria. I worked massive shift work, massive hours. I didn't ever take fatigue breaks, and I managed a lot of branches and dozens of staff sometimes. And when I got to 50, I thought, oh, what's this menopause rubbish? You know, I thought, oh, I must be past it. And with all of my, you know, nursing, ambulance, all my health background, my nutrition and a naturopath background, which I've been doing for about 15 years now, I actually knew very little about menopause, and that really showed. And around my 50th birthday, for the next 12 months, my life really started to change. And I started to discover that perhaps I hadn't got out of it so easily. And like many women, I was suffering from a lot of like burnout and exhaustion, and a lot of the symptoms that I actually wasn't that aware of. So, and like many women, I, you know, one foot in one door and the other door, you know, natural and, you know, Western medicine. And so I went to a doctor, multiple doctors, and, you know, asked for help and some ideas about what was going on with me. And all they wanted to do was put me on antidepressants. and HRT. And, and that's what woke me up. And I thought, no, there's something else going on. So I started this journey of discovery and research. And I love education and learning. So I just went down this road and I educated myself. I did studies with Dr. Wendy Sweet in New Zealand. I became an accredited menopause practitioner, and I just kept going and going.
Yeah.
And I started seeing clients, but then Chelsey, what I found, so I'm coming up 56, but what I found last year was it just wasn't enough. There was still a missing link. And then I started to hear you on social media, and I thought, that's the missing link. Lymphatics and menopause are two areas which we are not educated in as health practitioners. And I have education in both camps, the complementary medicine health and our Western medicine. And none of those areas really, really taught us much about either. So I started listening to you. I started putting things into practice, and I thought, I've got to meet this woman. I've got to get to know about this, because this is the link. This is it. Yeah. This is it. Yeah.
And it's so good because you have come from, like you said, the medical world.
Yes, I have.
You've seen everything that you could possibly see in the medical world, right? Being a nurse and being a paramedic, and you've seen the treatments, you've seen the symptoms, you've seen what people are suffering with, and then you've seen how they're being treated, and then you've said, look, there must be another way. There has to be another way. And I think you've said to me before, you just had to follow your heart. You just had to follow you what was right for you.
Yeah, I did.
And jumping into the natural therapies.
Yeah. So I've sort of dabbled in. I had a full-time clinic, which I closed, a few years ago, and went back to full-time ambulance, worked in emergency management with all, the massive bushfires and COVID and floods. But I just wasn't being fulfilled, which, like many women in this era, they're finding that what they used to do just doesn't work anymore. And what they used to love, their passions and their employment, their workplaces, they just don't fit in anymore. And that's where I found myself. So I resigned last year from nearly 3 decades in ambulance Victoria, and that's close to 40 years in the medical world. Yeah, so I had to do it because my heart was hurting, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just can't keep on going no. You can keep on going like that. You can choose, like a lot of people.
Many do. Yeah.
I reckon 80% of people do, Wendy. Just choose to keep going, staying in that safe zone of, even though it's killing them, staying and doing the same thing, because stepping out of the comfort zone can be a little bit scary.
It's scary. And, our families depend on us, our mortgages depend on us. And it's hard to do something different. But there comes a time where you have to choose your mental health, your physical health, and you have to choose life. And that's what it got to me. Like, that's actually where it come to me. And I just knew there was a better way. And it was after that. It was after I resigned from Ambulance Victoria that I found you, and I thought, oh, hallelujah.
Yeah, because that's what happens. You create a space.
You do, absolutely.
You take a leap and you create a space, and then something turns up.
Yeah, and then absolutely. In the last 6 months, it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger, hasn't it? So it's been working with you has, I've opened up. I was just consulting from home, and now I've opened up a bigger clinic, and that's all because of your passion and all your mentoring, which has been wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Now, Wendy's clinic is in Shepparton in Victoria, and all of the things that we've got there is the same as what we've got available in our Brisbane clinic. So anybody who is in that area within a 1-2 hour drive, I have people driving 2 hours to get to my clinic, and I'm sure Wendy has got people driving some hours to get to her. She's got our wonderful energy cocoon. She's got the IR compression. She's got our full circulate compressions, 3. Also,
I have a recovery lounge. So there's
a whole lounge.
4 recliners.
So your clinic's bigger than mine.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've got 5 rooms. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus consulting.
Consulting. Yeah.
And I do have to say, like, you really care. Like, there is such a care factor when it comes. I can see some heads nodding. Like, you 100% give a shit. Like, absolutely give a shit. So I love that about you and your group, your Merry Menopause group. You can just see how much love you're putting into that. And I'm sure that these women just know how much they're nurtured with you. And that's what you're looking for with somebody who you're, giving your health, handing your health over to, because everyone probably has been on the same journey. They're going to the doctor and saying, I'm feeling this, and then this is coming up. Oh, here's an antidepressant. Here's a this and here's a that. But we could go on all night about that. But now everyone here has found us, and we're going to talk about like hormonal changes, and they start at puberty, right? So hormonal changes start quite early, and as this is lipedema month, and we're talking about lymphatic issues, like lipedema can have an onset at puberty, or at giving birth, or at menopause, as well. So there are so many different things when it comes to hormones that, like with the lymphatic system, if your lymphatic system is slow and like not moving and transporting those hormones around the body, we're going to have a buildup, aren't we? We're going to have a buildup of hormones.
Yeah, 100%. I always say that puberty and menopause, they're just the bookends for women's lives, really. And we start at puberty, and the other bookend is menopause. And what happens in between is this, big cauldron full of different hormones. I often talk with ladies around the different stages in our lives. We have the maiden, the mother, and the wise woman, and we're the bookends of our lives. And so many changes happen. And for women particularly between 50 and 60, they've got an amazing opportunity to turn things around and really change their health. And I seem to be seeing women younger and younger now who are having menopausal or changes. So it depends. It's because of our lifestyle, lots of the environment things that happen, toxins, environmental toxins and disruptors that are in our system, and the lymphatic system is so responsible for clearing that. And so many women don't know about it. When I talk to every woman that I have on my table pretty much, and I first ask them, how much do you know about the lymphatic system? And they say, nothing, like, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just here because I got led here, and, they just knew it felt right. So often people don't even know that, when they come into the clinic, you probably face this as well, or, women just know that it's right and they just need to do something. But it's always actually a beginning of a journey. Yeah.
And then it can be a different end game, a different result for each woman, because they'll walk out. Some will feel, wow, I feel energized, I feel light. Others will be, look, I can touch my toes, or look, my stomach has gone down so much, or look, I've got energy, or I can move my jaw, or they've slowed down, and that stress levels, those cortisol levels and everything has hit a little bit of a woo. That everybody has a different results when we pull the plug on all the toxins, where all the toxins are sitting. So estrogen, progesterone, all of those things. So I've done some study a little while ago and about the weight of hormones, and progesterone is a lighter hormone than estrogen. And so that's probably why, like, when we wear progesterone patches and things like that, the skin absorbs it into the lymphatic system. To be transported around the body. But we then find that a lot of people are estrogen dominant. Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about estrogen dominance, and there are a lot of different beliefs around, is it true? Do we really have it? But the reality around estrogen dominance, I guess the answer is yes and no. In some ways we do have it, but the explanation around it is different than perhaps what we think sometimes. As we go through life, it can happen at any stage of our lives. So it can happen if you're a young teenager, if you're a fit athlete and you're doing heaps of athletics, or if you're sedentary, or if you're going through menopause, so really, really stressed, we get this condition or this phase called the progesterone steal. And so what happens is when you have really high stress levels, so whatever you're stressed for, whatever reason, whether it is, like fitness or menopause, or, some work related, the cortisol steals the progesterone, in which, then we look like we've actually, our balance of hormones is out of balance and our estrogen is higher. It's not necessarily because we're creating more estrogen, it's just the balance of the progesterone estrogen is not balanced. Although what happens though, because of our environmental toxins and these hormone disruptors that we have, we do tend to carry more xenoestrogens, you know, in our fat cells in our belly. And with those fat cells in our belly, we don't necessarily get more fat cells. We've always got the same amount of fat cells that we're born with. They just get bigger and bigger. And
Yes.
yeah, they do. And they often get bigger and bigger with excess hormones and toxins and fat and sludge, you know. And as I think you mentioned last night or the night before around how the importance of breathing, you know, deep breathing, and, you know, how we, you know, lose our weight like that. And we just forget to do simple things like breathing, but also considering not just your food intake, your water, you know, what you're cooking with. It's really simple steps. And when I speak to ladies in my clinic and, you know, I give them some homework, they're actually surprised by the simplicity of what I'm asking them to do. And sometimes it's just, you know, remember to breathe. You know, when you go and wash your hands or do this, let it be a trigger to breathe, and drinking filtered water. And sometimes you've just got to start there, because what I've experienced and what I find many women experience, that when they leave your care, it's the first time they've felt calm in a long time.
Yeah.
And so that's telling me that their hormone stress levels, cortisol levels, adrenaline levels are running at a very high rate all of the time. You know, they're not sleeping. They're not sleeping. You know, if you're not sleeping, you know, you're not breathing properly, you're not having your water, you're aging very quickly. And we've got this saying called, this is from Dr. Wendy Sweet, is that inflammaging. So it's inflammation, yes, but inflammaging, because that's what's happening to us. You know,
Yeah.
and
I love
moving
that.
the lymphatic,
Yeah.
moving the lymphatic system is a major part of reversing that.
Yeah, so my story with that whole estrogen dominance, fake estrogens, you know, estrogen story, which,
Yeah.
you know, I've told you, is that, you know, last year I had a hysterectomy. And the reasons behind this is because I started to get very heavy, very, very heavy periods coming like every 21 days, lasting for 10 days. And then I went and had a scan done. And the lady who did the internal scan, she's like, "Oh, well, you know that you've got your fibroids." And I'm like, "No." She's like, "Oh, you've got one the size of a grapefruit, another one the size of an apple, and then you've got 4 lychees, like size growths in your uterus." And I'm like, "Huh?" I had no idea that I had nearly like a soccer ball amount of growths going on. And no wonder that my bladder control wasn't very good, because of all of the pressure of that, you know, mass pushing onto my bladder and all of the different things that go with that. And so as a naturopath, first of all, I have a look at the natural alternative. And it's like, okay, well, you know, I'm 48 now, I was 47 at the time. My estrogen levels are going to go down. This is an estrogen mass normally that sits there. So it should go down, right? In theory. So I'm like, okay. But then I thought, I'm going to get this Dutch test done. And we got the Dutch test done, and it came back that my estrogen levels, the high estrogens, were those toxic chemical estrogens.
Yeah. And even with all the work that you do, isn't that crazy?
All the work that I do,
Yeah.
how good I am, and everything else, I still had this massive mass inside my gut, right? And inside, you know, my uterus, and causing all of those problems. And if I hadn't have done that test, then I wouldn't have known that this is all of the plastic estrogens. And so then to me it was okay. You know, I have to have a hysterectomy to get all of that mass out of my body.
Absolutely. And it's just amazing once you sort of lose that, and then, you know, focus on even more on, you know, what are you doing? What are your daily routines? What do you need to keep healthy? Because if you're already doing so much and that happens, it just shows that we just need to have things in place, and checks as well.
Yeah, well, I just had a lady on Instagram comment, and it's made me feel really sad. She said, "Is it too late for me? I'm 63." All right.
No. Oh no, goodness, no. So
I know.
No, beautiful darling. No, not at all.
Yeah, no.
And please talk to me about that. No, it's not too late. It's
yeah.
that, you know, do you want to say? Yeah.
It's This is the thing. When did
So
mediocre health become okay? When did 63 become old?
you're
Not
not that much older than me. No. When I say a window of opportunity between 50 and 60, what I mean is it's the realization, it's the looking at life differently. So many women, because menopause is what I've been specializing in. So many women think, oh God, I'm at this stage now. This is now, coming towards the end of my life, the end of my joy. I don't enjoy things anymore. I'm looking older, but it's actually the time to start turning it around. If you haven't done it before 50, just start turning it around then. We look at it as an opportunity to change things. We might need to take things out of our life. We might need to put things into our life. It's just a beautiful opportunity. And 60s are still so young. We still have estrogen in our 60s. We're still producing estrogen until around our mid 80s. So just so much opportunity. And what I want women to look at is, when you're post-menopause, it's not the end of menopause. You're post-menopause for the rest of your life. So then we need to think of, as you've mentioned in these talks, dementia, our brain health. We need to look at our bone health, our heart health, our mental health. Sometimes it's the first time you've had time to start looking at these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and brain health and our lymphatic system.
Yeah.
So, Alzheimer's, that disease of Alzheimer's
Yeah.
only started when we started having too much margarine, too much like plastic.
Yeah.
Our brain is made of myelin, 75% myelin, which is made of cholesterol. So our brain needs this cholesterol to function. And unfortunately, what's the main drug that everybody's on is a statin to
Yeah.
stop cholesterol.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have Alzheimer's before we had margarine, before we had plastics. The margarine was brought in by Napoleon to get for the armies, and then World War II it got even more, and now we've got all of these terrible oils that our brain that clog up our brain and keep us dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
And look, one of the things, if somehow, people just find you for conversations, and people often ask me for recommendations. And I say to ladies, if there's one thing that you're going to do is for yourself is leading into, perimenopause or the transition of menopause, which I might talk you through as well, because there's often a lot of confusion around that. What happens when we start our estrogen levels start declining, which is an absolutely normal, natural part of our life. So we don't have a deficiency when our estrogen starts to decline. It's not a deficiency. And I'll tell you why in a minute. We have thousands of receptors around our body. It's just similar to the lymph nodes. We have, thousands really. With the estrogen receptors, they've been used to having a lot of estrogen, and the estrogen helps them be plump, and it's anti-inflammatory, beautiful, kind, soft, hormone that's also very lubricating. Once our levels start declining, we start to get aches and pains, and we start to get inflammation. And if we don't have anything to replace that, that's when we start getting sore joints and sore arms, and we get out of bed and our feet hurt. Our shoulders, we get frozen shoulders and different things like that start to happen almost overnight sometimes. And if you have had to have, if you've had a breast cancer and you've had to have a estrogen blocker, then you'll almost experience that overnight. Not almost, you will, because it's, it takes the estrogen out of your body, it blocks it. So you'll have those, symptoms very quickly. So extra virgin olive oil has such beautiful properties that if you have it every day, and I recommend 3 tablespoonfuls a day, every day for all women, and have that over your meals, it attaches onto the estrogen receptors, and it does the same job as estrogen. It's not harmful. So if you are being treated for breast cancer or any of the cancers, it's actually very safe to have that. And I highly recommend all women to do it, to start having extra virgin olive oil. It's just an easy thing.
I'm just going to read this before it disappears off my screen. So I had a hysterectomy 10 months ago. I'm 62 and I use identical hormones. as I went into menopause 6 months after the procedure. What about me? So I had mine at 47, so I've still got my ovaries. And so no, I haven't noticed too much changes with me. But Wendy, have you got a comment on that?
Yes. Without, going too personal, Sue, is I can't read those comments, but was that a total hysterectomy, including the ovaries, or have they left them in situ?
She hasn't let me know. So yeah, so she's still
Yeah.
listening.
You can still take the extra virgin olive oil, because you'll start to have a decline. Like at 63, I think, did she say her age was?
Yeah, 62.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll be well and truly into your postmenopause years. It usually happens in your 50s somewhere. So the extra virgin olive oil will absolutely help you to feel your body to feel so much better, and your brain. Yeah. So start taking that. If that's one thing you do, start taking that 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil every day.
Yeah, that's what they do in the blue zones.
That's what they do in the blue zones. Yeah. So one of the we do have some, as naturopaths, we do have some different recommendations around food plans. But blue zones, the Mediterranean diet is certainly up there. What I want to say, though, is with the Mediterranean diet, there are still things within that may not suit your body. So that's why the testing and the hair testing, that is still valuable, because within that food plan, that way of eating, there are still things that may not quite be compatible with your body.
Yes, exactly. And that's why we do our compatibility hair test.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
So to find out what foods are causing inflammation, we take a little bit of your hair. It doesn't matter where you live, what country in the world, because the tests, we've tested the foods in every country. So you send us a little snippet of your hair, and then we will come back with this report testing your hair against 600 different food and household items, and it will come back and tell you exactly what you can eat for you personally. So I won't talk food with anyone unless they've done the hair test. I'll talk general food, and I'll say, have a fat, have a protein, have a carbohydrate, but I'm not going to say, have some broccoli and some peas and eat, because chicken comes up 80% of the time to remove. So does pineapple. And so it's very personal when it comes to food. So, and we see amazing results with our hair tests. Hey, Wendy.
Yeah. And the other part of the hair testing too is it's not forever. So when you get your hair test results back, you will work with, one of us, naturopath, nutritionist, and they'll help you with a meal plan and a food plan. And you stick to it for 6 months, and then you have, in that 6 months, we help you with that healing process. And then you test again, and hopefully those foods that were taken out might be put back in, or they might have changed. So it's like everything. It's a healing process. Yeah.
Yeah. So just Instagram are just asking. So it is 3 tablespoons of your really good quality olive oil.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is, at home, it's extra virgin olive oil. So have a cheap extra virgin olive oil for cooking. It's very okay to cook with olive oil. High points and everything's fine. And have a really nice quality one to have cold over your food. So one that's not too bitter, and drizzle that over your food. The 3 tablespoons is on top of what you're cooking with. We find, I have women every single day say to me, "Oh, I cook with it, I must be having enough." And I said, if you really broke it down, you absolutely would not be. So that what you're cooking, I know for a fact with most households, you're sharing the food. You don't eat the whole meal. Some of it splats out of your pan or whatever. Have the 3 tablespoons of a really good quality one, just poured on top of your food. Mix it with some lemon juice, or make a beautiful dressing, or just have it just as it is. You can mix it into smoothies. You can have it in your porridge, your chia, whatever you're having. I personally, if I'm having a piece of rye toast or something like that, I'll just drizzle it on that. I don't even use butters and margarines ever.
Yeah. And what about coconut oil, Wendy?
So I don't actually recommend to ingest coconut oil while you're going through menopause. It's not one of those. The only one I would really use is just extra virgin olive oil. Coconut oil, I love it on your skin. I love it in your hair, with masks and that kind of stuff. But it's not something I cook with or eat with at this stage of our lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the other, beyond those bookends, yeah, but not now. Yeah.
Yes. So have the organic one, have the expensive one raw, and then you can still cook with a virgin olive oil, not as an expensive one if budget, if you be in budget.
Yeah. Well, it's, you don't want to use your really expensive one that tastes gorgeous just in your cooking. Like, just use a normal everyday Aldi one if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. A good, organic one, that's great. And you can use that on your salads or on your food or your toast or anything like that. But if you just prefer a really nice quality one that's just for you, it's a nice little treat to have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk through. Let's talk through the whole menopausal journey.
The journey. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have, as I was saying earlier, we have these stages in our lives, and you ladies, you'll be so familiar. We have the maiden. So that's, our beautiful teenage girls up into our early 20s. And that's when, we're young and carefree and our skin is lush and we've got lots of estrogen and we're plumped up and it's beautiful. Then we go to being the mother stage where we're fertile, we're producing our children. And then we go into our wise woman stage, which some people call a crone, but I think wise woman is beautiful. The wise woman stage is when we start to decline in our estrogen. There's a good reason for that. It's because we don't need to be fertile anymore. We don't need to be reproducing. That's for those younger women. From 50 onwards, usually, sometimes it's a little bit further in, but from that stage, we then start nurturing the community. Menopause is like that real sandwich generation. Often we've got kids and grandkids on one stage and we've got mums and dads and elderly people on the other. But we're community minded. It's when we're the experts in our roles, we're the nurturers in our community, in our home, we're the actual real wise women. When it comes to menopause stages, we have pre-menopause, pre-peri. So it's not peri, it's pre-peri. That's often, in our 30s to late 30s. Or early 40s, we start going down to the perimenopause. Now, all the blood tests in the world aren't really going to tell you where they are. They will fluctuate every day. So the way you know you're in perimenopause is usually there are some changes in your periods. You usually might be getting a bit heavier. You might start to get clots. They might start to come regularly, and then they'll be, further apart, and then they'll come regularly again. You might start getting bigger breasts, your hips, carrying a bit of weight in your hips and in your belly. But it's usually how we know is usually around the periods. If you're having a regular period, every 28 days or 30 days, that's not very heavy, it's pretty light, then your hormones are pretty well balanced. But once they start getting a little bit irregular, that's when we know you're going into perimenopause. That can last for maybe 14 to 15 years. It can be shorter for some people. It was absolutely 14 years for me. And then as you're transitioning through that time, that's when you're really starting to feel haggard, tired. And you know why? Is because we're really busy. It's usually the busiest time of a woman's life. We've usually got teenagers, animals, house, career, parents, bosses, or we are the boss. There's so many things going on. We're starting to get tired and burnt out, but we push through. When we push through, do you recognize with women that often you cook the really nice meals for your family, but you often don't stop to sit down and eat them yourselves? You fill everyone else's water bottle up, but you may not be having it yourselves. And that's what I'm finding, and that's what I experience too. So that's our perimenopausal stage. It's when we can start getting wired and tired. We can start getting angry and moody and irritable. We're not sleeping often. We're having, there might be hot flushes or hot sweats that wake us up, or we might be just having some sleep disturbances, can't get to sleep or can't stay asleep, or we might be waking up really early in the morning. We're waking up fatigued, brain fog, sore feet, sore ankles, when we get out of bed, and calf muscles. That's a real perimenopausal stage, and women really need help. This is the risky area, the high risk area, when the medical profession want to put you on HRT, or they don't even think about HRT, they just want to put you straight onto antidepressants without really investigating what's wrong. After that, there's a transition stage. So and you don't know when this is until it's over. So we retrospectively diagnose postmenopause, that transition stage. So what happens is you need to have had no bleed whatsoever for 365 days plus one. So 366 days with no bleeding, then you are officially postmenopause, and you sit there for the rest of your life. And it's at this point, if you haven't started things before that, this is when I want people to really think bone health, mental health, brain health. Okay, they're so important. One of the main contenders is women don't ever usually know what their vitamin D levels are. And it's one of the most important things, the protective things, you know, it's just so hard. You've just almost got to make excuses to get vitamin D tested, you know, with a GP.
Yes.
We can get that tested for you if you need. We are able to request pathology. It's around $40, I believe, $40 or $50 to have vitamin D. So if you just can't get your GP to do it, please ask one of us to get it done for you. I want your vitamin D to be over 100. I have so many people come to me and say, oh, they said it was all right. And I said, well, what is it? Oh, I don't know. And then when I get them to bring their results in, it's usually 50 or lower.
Yes.
And it's not okay. Yeah, and it's not protective. Vitamin D is protective. You know, when you're doing all this beautiful lymphatic work, you know, and all of those other things, you don't want your vitamin D level to be the one thing that lets you down, the one thing that is not protecting your bones, your brain, you protecting you from cancer. So it's just one of those things, you know, and it's not just about having supplements either. It's about your skin health, your liver health, your gut health. You know, everything's got to be lined up. It's you know, it's like everything, you know, often symptoms are the same with different diagnoses. There's a lot of things. Yeah.
One question before it disappears again, Wendy. I'm 52 and post-menopause. I also still have an IUD Mirena, which is due out in 2025. And so we can't tell you whether to take it out. And she's like, should I take it out? Should I remove it now? But can we talk a little bit about Mirenas, IUDs, those types of things?
Yeah. So a Mirena is a concentrated progesterone, basically. They say, you know, a Mirena is just concentrated around the uterine area. But often you'll find reports that women, when they have them, are still feeling that their breast tenderness and soreness. So we know it actually does go through the system. The latest things I've been hearing is doctors are telling ladies to don't even take it out. Why would you bother? You're post-menopause. Yeah, it doesn't. They're saying leave it in forever now. So if you know, it's past that 5 years, you know, you're not going to be reproducing anymore. Why would you even bother going to theatre and taking it out? It's a very personal choice, and I think they are the things you would have a talk to your practitioner about one-on-one, and looking at the pros and cons either way. Yeah.
Yes. So vitamin D, I think everyone has heard me talk a lot about vitamin D. I spent some time with Dr. Karen Coates this year, and she just is so passionate about saying that we can tell how long you are going to live by your vitamin D levels.
Yeah,
it is that serious. It's that serious, ladies. We've all been told to be scared of the sun. It breaks my heart.
Yeah. And I just want you to consider as well, think about where we've been since 2019. So we've been in hibernation pretty much. And, you know, and even if we don't talk about, you know, sunblock and that sort of stuff, many of us have shifted to working in offices, working at home. We had years of working at home. And if we weren't working at home, we were isolating at home. So that alone, without all of the other factors, it takes so much more than sunshine and capsules though. Like it does take our liver health and our gut health, you know, also, and our skin health, you know. So there's a lot of things that need to line up for your levels to be at an adequate level. For me, it needs to be 100 or more. So have a think about if you ladies have got some pathology results sitting at home, or if they're sitting in the doctor's office, please get them to email you a copy. The next time you're at your GP, please ask them to get your vitamin D checked. They will probably argue with you about it, make up some excuse why you need it, tell them, oh, it was low in the past or something, because they just won't do it. They just won't do it. Yeah. And it's not the doctor either. It's the Medicare system that doesn't allow it. Yeah.
Yeah. I went and got blood tests done today, and it was vial after vial after vial. And I know because my doctor is amazing and she tests everything.
Yeah.
And there's no, but as a naturopath, when we're talking to our clients, we have to say, like, ask, have you got a good GP? And then they'll come back and say, oh, they wouldn't test for my thyroid, said that it was unnecessary, didn't need to do that, didn't need to check for my, or they'll just do the TSH.
Yeah.
Didn't need to check for vitamin D. No, didn't need, like, there is no, they said no, no, no.
Yeah. So I often find myself, in private practice, I'll often just do the pathology requesting myself.
Yeah.
And it does cost a little bit. It's a couple of $100 to get a full screen, which is not a huge amount. I think probably under $200 you can get your thyroid, your cholesterol, your diabetes, your sugar levels, your vitamin D. There's, you can get a whole screen done. But again, it's dependent on the client and the patient themselves. But certainly, it's something that I offer my clients is to have that. We'll just do the request form ourselves.
Yeah, and it's good to do every 12 months, Wendy, isn't it? Just to get
Totally,
that
totally.
shot.
Yeah. Look, having control of your own health. At the end of the day, I can help women, Chelsey can help women, all of Chelsey's practitioners, but you have to be accountable for your own health. You really do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing that our menopausal, or perimenopausal, menopausal women don't like about coming into clinic and don't like about our treatments is that they can be gone 6 months, 8 months, 12 months without having a period. And then they come in and start doing some cleanup. We're doing some liver cleaning, we're doing
Yeah.
some lymphatics, and guess what?
Yep, they get a bleed. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I'm like, well, we're making you younger.
Well, as I say, like if you're late into menopause or to get into postmenopause, the longer you have your periods, it's actually quite protective because you've still got a higher degree of estrogen. So it's actually quite protective.
Mm.
But if you were one of those ladies that, for biological reasons or surgical reasons that you went into postmenopause earlier, there are those things that we can do for protection as well. So,
Yeah.
it's not bad news for them. It just means you've got to have do a few extra things earlier in life.
Yeah. So can we talk through some different herbs and different things that that we use for supporting the body with hormones?
Yeah, so I'm actually one of those naturopaths. I don't use a huge amount of things for ladies. I like to get a balance and actually wind back on some of the things that women are often taking because like you, they come in with bags full of stuff and I never know what's working and what's not working. Things are out of date and everything. So I actually don't use too many herbs or supplements. I really, really go back and do the body work and I use nutrition big time. Yeah. But there's certainly a lot of herbs and supplements out there. There's a couple of things are a no-brainer for me. So that is your magnesiums, your vitamin D, your CoQ10.
Yes.
Everyone over 40 should be on CoQ10. It's so protective.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's, and like with herbs, it's such an individual thing. Like we've got red clover and black cohosh and all different things like that. They're so unique and different for every woman though. So I wouldn't say that, one size fits all ever. And they're the individual consultations that we have. I like to work with the mindset as well. So that's such a massive thing. Often we lose focus with our goals, with our future, with our values, and all of those things between 45 and pretty much 70. I think we lose track of all of that kind of stuff. So it's a great time to just reestablish who am I, what do I want, where am I going, what's in, what's out. So that kind of thing is very, very big in my consults as well.
Yeah. So when we're talking about so magnesium, super important. Everybody needs to be on a magnesium. I find that because we use one type of magnesium if you need more energy, we've got another type if you need to be to calm down. So the only reason if you can have too much magnesium is when you'll get diarrhea, right? Your bowels will become a little bit loose. But magnesium up, everyone. Like you need it for over 300 different enzyme functions. It's salts, that magnesium, those minerals, and calcium. When it comes to bone density and calcium and all of those things, what we've got to realize is if we can keep our body alkaline as much as possible, because it's calcium that puts out the acid fire, puts out the inflammation. So if your body has been inflamed a lot, even training exercising,
Totally.
your body takes calcium out of the bones, even out of the lining of your blood vessels. So if the integrity of your blood vessels, and you've got varicose veins and like sloppy veins, it's because your body is stripping that calcium that holds everything, gives it structure, and putting out the acid fire, putting out the fire all of the time. So please make sure that you can be as alkaline as possible, Wendy, hey, with your diet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, having your greens, your green, veggies, and, eat with the seasons. In wintertime and autumn time, have your nice cooked green veggies. In summertime, have your salads. Eat seasonally. Be intuitive around your eating. With the
Fiber.
magnesium,
Yeah.
fiber. Yeah, with the magnesium, I find you'll get a loose bowel maybe for a couple of days, but it won't persist. So persist with your magnesium, because your body will settle down and it will take what it needs as well.
Yeah. So magnesium, I like withania a
Oh
lot.
yes, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Ashwagandha, yeah.
It's my Medimag Calm. I don't think I could live without it.
Yeah.
So my drinks. So I always take. I've got my BCAAs and my Medimag Calm and I think Bassica in
Oh
here
yeah.
of my mix that I have a drink of in the morning. And
Is that your Nessie? Is that the Nessie?
no, my Nessie is too up for me. So
Oh,
I
okay.
can't take my Nessie
Oh, see, I
anymore.
love your Nessie. I love it.
Because
my clinic up there, I use it every day. My
I'd
clinic
be
just for
bouncing
me.
off the walls.
Yeah.
I'd be, with when it comes to Nessie. So I need more of a downer. So I've never had a coffee. Like I don't drink coffee.
Yes, yeah.
I don't have soft drink, anything like that. But yeah, my Nessie blend. So if anyone is interested and wants to try my Nessie blend,
Try it. I love it.
it's a blend that we've got that has the Magtor in it. So it's got all of the magnesiums and the Bs. It's got PHGG with the fiber, theanine. So theanine is like rainbows, unicorns, and sparkles, and it just like takes the edge off everything. What else is in there? TMG. TMG is like a pre-workout dopamine, serotonin, brain on, and N-acetylcysteine. So NAC phase 2 liver detoxifier, helps with any films that parasites are putting, biofilms in your body. And what else does NAC do? NAC helps with any addictions as well. So if you find, can we talk a little bit about drinking alcohol, hormone?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea. So ladies, when we start going into perimenopause, and definitely by postmenopause, our liver, it actually shrinks. So it goes down by about 25%. And also if it's a bit sludgy and a bit blocked up, alcohol is not our friend. And you'll find that as you start to go through your 40s and 50s, that you don't tolerate it as much anymore. So, and I still meet so many women that even if they don't feel very good, they still persist on having a lot of alcohol. And it's when you're starting to have it every day that's probably a problem. So if you have a couple of glasses of wine or something over the weekend, or occasionally socially, that's fine. Your body can usually cope very well with that, especially if you're nice and hydrated. But drinking every night and drinking, a couple of glasses of wine or whatever you choose to have every night, your liver can't cope with it anymore, because it really has, unlike men, unfortunately, men's livers don't shrink like ours do, but ours certainly do. They start by about 25%. That's a lot.
That's I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Look, the other thing is we are bent over a lot. So when we're not looking after our posture, when we're at desks or just, everyday living, when we are bent over so much, our liver is getting squashed, and our spleen, which is part of our lymphatic system, is getting squashed in under our rib cage. So it's not being able to work efficiently. So just making sure that your posture, just thinking about it, that actually helps with your liver health and your spleen health. So therefore your lymphatic health as well.
Yeah.
So if you give your body the right environment, your body knows what to do. We just have to give it, we have to help it with the right environment.
Yeah. So number one is recognizing, I think, and being really honest, is what is the depth of your toxicity? Like, have you treated your body, like, have you really been on it? Like, have you drank too much? Have you eaten, wrong foods a lot. Like, what is the depth of the toxicity? Are you on a lot of pharmaceuticals, that type of thing? So and then what is your body's ability to eliminate all of this waste, and then to be able to transport all of the nutrients and transport all of the hormones? And then the third big question is, are you currently moving in a way that best supports your body to where you want to be?
Yeah.
So I think that's the three steps.
Yeah. And I often ask ladies this question, and ladies, feel free to ask yourself, or even write it down if you want to, because it's a really powerful one. You might need time to ponder it. Is, what is the one thing that you know you have to do that you don't want to do?
Yeah.
So just ask yourself that question. It's quite powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to. Can we ask that in BooB CamP? We'll ask that in the private group tomorrow, Wendy. Yeah. We can see what everyone can have a think on that. So so we've talked about magnesium, we've talked about my beautiful Nessie blend. Calcium. So when it comes to supplementing with calcium, please do not use Caltrate. Everyone, please don't use Caltrate. When it comes to calcium, you are definitely best to get your calcium from greens, not from inflammatory foods like dairy. Dairy is more acid, so it strips your body of calcium.
Yeah. Anything that comes out of the ground.
And we definitely do. Yeah, anything that comes out of the ground that with good structure. But we do have supplements for calcium too.
Yeah, there's one other subject. I was just thinking of their 5 recommendations that I would recommend for people around, any stage of menopause, and they're very simple things. And sometimes, we think if things are simple, they're not important, but they absolutely are. So one of the things is sleep. Have a look at, how is your sleep? How is it really? Are you getting a solid, 7 to 8 hours a night? Maybe 7 might be enough for you. So is it disrupted? If you're not sleeping, you're not going to lose weight. That's an absolute reality. If you're not sleeping, your brain is not going to be getting washed with that clean lymphatic fluid, because it's clean because you're doing, all of the lymphatic drainage. But if you're not sleeping, your brain won't wash itself overnight. Having the extra virgin olive oil. And the other thing is protein. You need to be having protein in your meals, every meal, 3 meals a day. And there's a really good calculation. So if you're, a moderate exerciser, the minimum protein you should be having is about 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight. So often that adds up to be around 100 to 130 grams of protein per day. And I often find women, especially, are only having like a quarter of that. So if you're fatigued, if you haven't got much energy, which is a common symptom, it's a common thing, a complaint, it's often because we're not having enough protein. Now, how do we measure protein? So for example, we'll look at a chicken breast, 100-gram chicken breast. It's got around 25 to 27 grams. So we'll say 25 because that's easy. It's got about 25 grams of protein in a 100-gram chicken breast. So it's easy to like Google it or look it up, what amounts of protein are in food. Protein are in all of your veggies, your salads. Yes, it's, you can get some in your carbohydrates and in your protein foods as well. So making sure you're getting, if you're an exerciser, it's much more, like if you're an athlete, it's around 2.5 grams per kilo. So, for the average lady, about 1.5 to 1.8 grams per kilo of your body weight of protein. So have a look at that, ladies, and have a look at, well, what does protein mean? What is a protein? It's so important for energy and recovery and healing and strength. It's everything.
I bet you 95% of people on this call aren't even getting 50 grams or 75 grams.
I would too. I agree.
Of protein. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Has to be done. So everyone grab a beach towel, go out in the sun and eat a chicken breast or a T-bone steak.
And look, it's like, I'm in Victoria, so it's it's the start of winter now, but take an opportunity to make bone broths.
Yes.
beautiful healing bone broths with, bones, and make soups and just beautiful nourishing healing food. Eat seasonal, cook your veggies, have roast veggies, with drizzle beautiful olive oil over your veggies, and just keep things simple, keep things really easy. On a Sunday, make a whole big tray of veggies for yourself.
Yep.
And have it ready. We're busy lives, so you've always got food there ready for you to eat when you need it. Make some meat, do it, braise meat in the slow cooker and make soups and that kind of stuff. Have it available. If it's available, you'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I do have a protein, I do have protein BCAAs, like it's 20 grams of protein in a scoop of my drink. And when I need, so I will have that before I go to gym to train, because I can go to gym twice a day sometimes to train. So I guess I'm not going to eat like all of this big meat all of the time, but yes, I am definitely still going to have my eggs and my like meat, and also the proteins from vegetables as well, and as much as I can get in. But yeah, make sure you follow your hair test, because your hair test will tell you whether you can have a whey protein or whether you have a pea protein, or which protein is the best for you to have. Yeah, as well. All right. So any questions? Pasteurized eggs are awesome. Duck eggs also, like people forget it all about duck. I had a T-bone yesterday for the first time in years. If I'm not getting my protein lately, watch out. So Tracy's getting her big proteins on. Belinda, puke, Caltrate. I've been drinking spinach powder more recently that I'm on the road. It's spinach powder. So look, there is so many different things, but just make sure that your hair test, you can have that, as well. So looking at the, gut health, like hormones, it's just something that we all just have to love ourselves through. Yeah. It's just a process, and we just have to love, like we said at the beginning, you can't hate yourself healthy. Right.
Yeah. Chelsey, my biggest, take when I talk in, workshops and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm asking women to look at it differently, to look at menopause and perimenopause, look at it differently. Don't look at it as, oh, woe me, this is crap. Oh, this is the end of my youth. Look at it as, great, this is an opportunity of growth. This can change my life. I can be, make decisions now about, wiser, educated things. I can totally change my life. Maybe people come in, maybe come out, maybe you change your work. Look at it as a positive and a time of growth and opportunity. And I think that's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, but saying that, like after having my hysterectomy, not having a period is the best thing ever. Like
yeah, I'm quite enjoying it too.
Best thing ever. I've got nods. Like, yes, it's, oh my God.
Yeah. I got to the stage, I only became post-menopause last year, in November last year. So, and I'm nearly 56. And like, I was thinking like, come on. But, it is what it is.
But is it these plastic pads and plastic tampons and like plastic cups now that we're all using for, it's all these plastics that we're just inserting up and around and everything. We just have to be really aware of what we're doing. All of all these fake hormones. So if we can remove all of that stuff and then help our body detox through the lymphatic system, and by adding some different herbs and things. So definitely, like we said, the magnesium, drinking your water, getting some sleep, having your vitamin D levels, all of those things, just doing some of those is definitely going to help. Moving your body, exercise, doing the gloves, cleaning out your gut, everything that we've spoken about in day 1, 2, and 3 of BooB CamP, and then coming in and seeing your lymphatic massage specialist, coming in and having a lymphatic massage, get all of those toxins moving. And like Wendy and I have got these amazing energy cocoon saunas.
I was going to say infrared is totally a game changer in menopause. It's totally a game changer.
Yeah.
Infrared.
Yeah, so the infrared saunas, but ours is a little bit different. So you'll have to come and visit us in Brisbane and in Shepparton to have a go in our energy cocoons. All right, so look at it as being able to spend more time on yourself. Yes, Di, definitely. Trish, 4 and 5. What did I say about 4 and 5? What did we say about 4 and 5? Oh, she must.
The recommendations. Oh, the recommendations, yeah. So it was sleep, extra virgin olive oil, protein, water, and move your body. Easy,
Move.
simple things. Yeah. Don't
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, don't underestimate the simple things.
Yeah. Yeah. Support. And that's why we have our group. We've got our BooB CamP group. Please jump in there and ask any questions. Wendy is active in BooB CamP all the time. I'm active in BooB CamP as well all of the time. You've got so many different natural health therapists and specialists in lots of different areas.
Yeah. And I've got the Merry Menopause too, which is very specific to that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, in the Merry Menopause group. So you've got us girls willing and able to meet you halfway. You just have to take those first couple of steps and reach out and want to make a difference too. Jamila, no, we don't have anybody in New South Wales yet. So if you do know, if you are a practitioner yourself, if you are a therapist, or if you have a therapist that you would think aligns with me and aligns with Wendy, we are looking to expand what we do all across the country. So if you do know anyone, please send them my way. If they wanted to add what we do to their current natural health therapy business, we would love to chat. You know, go and knock on their door and say, hey, I need you to ring Chelsey Jean because she does all of this awesome stuff and I want it close to me. You know, whatever town that you're in. So Wendy, did you have anything more to finish off with? Oh, HRT.
Yeah, HRT. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you like to know about HRT?
So just thoughts on HRT.
Yeah. Look, I think again, it's not our role to tell people to take it or come off it. It's a very personal conversation that you have with us in a consultation or with your GP. What I find though is once women start on HRT, it's very, very difficult to come off, because even if you're in your 60s, it's very hard to come off, because as soon as you stop taking it, all the symptoms come back twofold. So it's a real problem. What I have come across as well is that some of the HRT patches that you're unable to sometimes get them, and so women will be left high and dry without their HRT in a patch, and it leaves them really sick, really uncomfortable, really fatigued, hot sweats. They come on straight away, tenfold. So if you can avoid it, I would, but I can't tell you that. So yeah,
isn't it Promaren and things like it's horse urine.
I think it used to be. I don't know if it still is. Yeah, I think it used to be. Yeah, it still is. I mean, some people, there's, like, I guess I have met ladies that absolutely, their symptoms are so incredibly severe that sometimes a little trickle of HRT really helps them. And especially if there are some emotional and mental health symptoms that come with it. And so sometimes if it's a game changer, you just might have to have some, and that's between you and your GP. And sometimes, if it is because it can get to that, if it's about life, then absolutely you do what you need to do, and we support that. We support your body with 100%. That. We support your liver clearance with that. Yeah. If you are on HRT and you want to get off HRT, but you are struggling because of that conversation we just had, because once you stop, when you've tried to stop, you just get you get massive symptoms back. Please talk to us, because getting off HRT can often be a process. It's not a one day on, the next day off. It's a process. So certainly we can guide you and support you through that.
Okay. Our Diane Larson has just said biohormones is a great alternative. So I'm not aware of that product, but yeah, biohormones. So just, you can reach out to Di in BooB CamP. Next question, is there anything in particular to help severe joint and muscle pain? CoQ10, I would, coenzyme Q10, ubiquinol. Make sure it's a really good, product. We use BioClinic. I use BioClinic. So you just ubiquinol and your magnesium, getting off anything that is acidic. Make sure that your body is alkaline.
And the oil. Yeah. Totally the oil because of your joints. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've just put, Wendy, we've put your website up in the Facebook page. So everybody who's on Insta, thank you for joining in. Please get onto the Facebook page, and it is Chelsey Jean Lymphatics is the page. BooB CamP is our group, and it's Merry Menopause is Wendy's group.
Yeah, the Merry Menopause community it is, and it's Merry as in Merry Christmas, because menopause is a joyful time, just like Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we are going to finish up on Insta and finish up in Facebook and on our Zoom. So if you've got any questions that you wanted to ask, please stay on, and we'll have a little chat with Wendy in a little bit of a smaller group that we're not recording. Okay. All right. So that is a massive big thank you, Wendy Gordon, for joining us and helping us through. Like, I hope you all feel a little bit more supported. And I know that it does sound that you have to put in effort in this time, and you're not just going to take a pharmaceutical, whack her on a tablet and things like that. But believe me, it is worth it in the long run to put in some effort into your health. So thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us. Thank you everyone who's joined for the last 3 nights of BooB CamP. I love it every month. Coming in here, motivating you to get your body moving, using your gloves, stimulating your lymphatic system, doing all the detoxification that we need to these days. All right. Big love, everyone. Goodbye, Amber. Night, Revit. Thank you, Cherie. Everyone on Facebook is just saying thank you so much, Wendy. Lots of love there from everybody. I've taken lots of notes. Everyone's, really, really happy. So yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Beautiful.